one-of-a-kind learning experience for the students. Our faculty are experts in the field of education and research. They are all updated in the latest trends in teacher education.
The Institute of Education recognizes that we are part of a larger community. We ensure that students are not just limited to the classroom, but are engaged in their community.
IE makes sure students have the best college life experience possible with its student-based organizations such as the Institute of Education Student Council and the Young Educator Society. Students are able to experience programs and activities that do not only cater to their academic needs, but also hone their leadership skills through extracurricular activities. The student organizations help the Institute to reach out to communities in need.
FEUIE advocates for our teachers' welfare, values the importance of research, and contributes to our partner institutions to ensure that the transformative power of education reaches everyone.
This is the Institute of Education, where students, faculty, and staff work hand in hand to build a future-ready community.
Linvadal, a graduate of BE Ed General Education, and I am currently teaching in a Filipino-Chinese school. Well, the most challenging part for me is the language and cultural differences, because some of our students are overseas Chinese students. They have to adjust in terms of communication and culture. For me to relate with my students, I also have to exert effort to learn about their language, culture, values, and environment, because this knowledge will allow me to cater to my students' needs. So I always make sure that I provide culturally responsive instruction for my students. In this way, they will feel comfortable not only to learn, but also to interact with others. I am very grateful to the Institute of Education for being my home in my 4-year stay in FEU. But IE has been recognized for its quality education. The administrators and professors work hand in hand to create a positive atmosphere conducive for learning. They provide their students with varieties of opportunities to learn and to grow as an individual. Well, of course, with the help of the expert teaching professors who provide reliable and credible sources of information, students can assure that their capacities and skills will be honed to the fullest. I can say that IE really equipped me well for my working life. The skills I learned and developed really helped me to efficiently perform my duties as a teacher, especially that I am teaching in a diverse classroom.
Good morning, education practitioners, students, and alumni. Welcome to another learning opportunity spearheaded by the Far Eastern University Institute of Education. To formally commence this event, let us honor our national anthem to be followed by the FEU prayer.
Glory to you, Almighty, for gathering us today. Give us the fortitude to conquer life's challenges so we can excel and be upright in everything that we do. Guide us to be united in diversity, that we may continue to serve and love one another. Amen.
Good morning once again to all the participants we have in the Zoom platform and those who are watching via live stream in our FEU Manila Institute of Education Facebook page. I am Diana Squadra, the moderator for this event and a student from the FEU Manila Institute of Education Graduate Studies. Welcome to this webinar entitled Braving the World with People with Special Needs. In celebration of the National Teachers Month and post-commemoration of the National Disability Prevention and Rehabilitation Week, FEU Institute of Education presents its webinar entitled Braving the World with People with Special Needs, recognizing that the road to national recovery from the pandemic would only be successful if it takes all of us to cooperate. Braving the world in the new normal and beyond includes looking out for each other's welfare, especially for community members with special needs. Thus, this event opens and continues the discourse on special needs education in the context of distant learning environment and social justice. Our three guest speakers are to share their insights and expertise about teaching strategies for students with special needs in distance learning, behavior implications of lockdown, and parent involvement in special education. Let me just remind you, audience participants, that you may join the open forum after all three speakers have delivered their talk. You may type in your questions in the chat box or raise the virtual hand in the Zoom platform to be acknowledged during the open forum. If you're watching via live stream in the FEU Institute of Education FB page, you may also type in your questions in the chat box to be acknowledged during the open forum. Also, don't forget to give your name and affiliation to be recognized. Our three guest speakers are on board and they will answer your questions later during the open forum. I think we're now ready to listen to the first topic on teaching strategies for students with special needs in distance learning, which will be delivered by Dr. Raymond Ragindin. Teacher Mon has been an educator in private special education institutions for 16 years, where he teaches in one-on-one and group setting. He presently serves as school administrator to his inclusive school in Nueva Ecija. He passed the career service examination in 2006 and became a licensed teacher in April 2011. He has certifications in Arthur Gillingham and Autism Exercise Specialist Program. He earned his Master of Arts in Psychology from Aralio Finma University, Nueva Ecija, and Master of Arts in Special Education from University of the Philippines, Diliman. He currently pursues Doctor of Philosophy in Education Management at Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology. Participants, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Teacher Mon. We're going to watch the video of Dr. Ergindin in anticipation of connectivity problems due to the weather. Let's watch the video.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning to share with you some teaching strategies for students with special needs in distance learning. Our objectives for this discussion: identifying distance learning in the Philippine education context, exploring teaching strategies for distance learning, best practices for distance learning, things to consider in distance learning. Okay, distance learning in a nutshell. Let's check the Western definition of distance learning. It is an acquisition of knowledge and skills through mediated information and instruction, encompassing all technologies and other forms of learning at a distance. DepEd defined distance learning in 2020 as where learning takes place between the teacher and the learner who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. Distance learning is any educational or learning procedure in which the teacher and the student are separated geographically. Acquisition of knowledge and skills happens in distance learning using technology, printed and recorded materials. In addition, students are not required going to school. They are not physically present in a traditional classroom environment. At present, we have online distance learning and modular distance learning as the two main learning modalities in the Philippines. In our setting, students and teachers stay in their homes. For those who are capable availing internet connections, they may go online. And for those who are not, are using modular or self-learning modules. We utilize distance learning as an alternative solution to continue the delivery of education this pandemic. Okay, let's check this framework. In this framework, we can see the family, the teacher, and the students. Okay, under the distance learning, we have synchronous and asynchronous learning. Synchronous learning happens when there is a real-time interaction between a teacher and student, while asynchronous learning is the opposite. Okay? In the sense of teaching students with special needs, some families and students may benefit using one or both. We always go back to the assessment. This is one of the most important process where we can prepare and plan academic and life skills programs with the family and the students themselves. Applications and other means for learning are placed at the center. Laptop, books, gadgets, applications, to bridge the communication gaps brought by the present crisis. These are continue the education of students with special needs. I would like to emphasize the importance of teacher and parent collaboration to make these applications synchronous and asynchronous learning materialize and happen. Okay? According to LAHO in 2019, effective communication among parents and teachers in distant learning yields better outcome. Teachers message or call parents for follow-up, monitoring of activities at home, and other essentials for task completion. Teaching strategies for teachers. Let's have first books versus modules. We use books as one of the references for those who will benefit to use along with DepEd's MELC or most essential learning competencies. The use of any learning and teaching material depends on the level of skills and severity of the condition of the student with special educational needs. For those who may not be able to use books, you can provide modules, additional teacher-made materials, and home programs. Okay, with books, parents and students can review, go back to the previous topics, and they may do advanced lessons. Repeat lessons, parents can plan and prepare ahead of time. Parents and teachers may have an overview of the learning unit quarterly, compare, and make it one of the references in academic program planning. While modules, it is more simple and already modified, supposedly, for students with special needs. Topics are per week or monthly. Online versus offline. There are students who can focus, attend, and have more interest in online platforms, especially those who are visual learners. For the others, self-learning modules and books will work with assistance from parents. Pre-recorded videos. These are good teaching strategy for those who have no internet connection and for those who miss classes. This is good when you want to teach action imitation, body movements, motor activities, as well as math and science, counting, comparing objects, showing simple experiments and procedures. Printed materials. These refer to the assessment checklist, evaluations, graphic organizers, modules, worksheets, work schedule, and written routine at home. What else? Home programs, evidence-based practices such as social stories, and other important written guidance for parents and students. Okay. It is inevitable not to say or discuss the problems Filipino teachers are experiencing in distance learning. I believe that these issues define the distance learning environment we are in generally. By discussing this, we may think of ways how to modify, how to adapt teaching strategies for our students with special educational needs. As you can see, on the top, again, we can always hear, we can always uh, see the following terms. So many webinars, asynchronous and synchronous, SLM, online applications. How about beneath the iceberg? How about the issues? Okay. How about the persistent and pressing issues that may prevent us to facilitate teaching strategies? Okay. According to the study of Ablao in 2021, resources. Okay. Many Filipino families have problems in internet connection, Wi-Fi, data or internet load, printing of materials, materials needed at home, concrete toys, three-dimensional materials such as blocks, balls, cars, and wooden toys. They do not have these materials to facilitate learning, to teach their children at home. Okay? Including in the resources are school staff such as teachers who are willing to teach online. Teachers who are willing to be trained to write modules, to write home programs, to make teaching materials. Okay? Resources is also about the means how teacher-parent communication should be established and strengthened this pandemic. Okay? Cost of printing. According to a survey in San Carlos, Pangasinan by Manlangit et al. In 2020, families chose modular because they don't have the budget to buy any gadgets. If they have naman, they have poor connectivity, power interruptions, noise distractions, and conflict with household routines. Availability of parents. We all know that parents step up to assist their children to do school activities. This will make a big change in their routine because additional hours will be spent to guide their children in doing their worksheets and other assigned tasks. Parent and teacher empowerment are overlooked. Why? We have to transfer basic teaching skills for parents this pandemic through training. Students stay at home to study and teachers are not there to perform their duties. They keep on training teachers, but for what? When they just work from home, parent training is unparalleled to the students' education this pandemic. Assessment and evaluation, lack of communication, concentration, and motivation for both teachers and students. Communication among peers increases academic performance of students. So this pandemic, lack of communication may lessen or decrease the skill and positive outcome. Families prefer face-to-face because they believe that students pay more attention during on-site learning and on-site teaching. Okay. Best practices for distance learning. Plan and prepare. Okay. When you say planning, we allow ourselves to be informed, seek additional facts and knowledge about distance learning and what we can create to address the needs of our students. We should consider those who can and cannot afford internet connection, gadgets, printers, and other necessary tools for education so we can have an alternative. We prepare materials needed by the students and their families. We prepare goals from quarterly to weekly basis. We prepare the best materials and applications based on the students' program that will assist them to learn and be successful. Preparation ahead of time will give us enough time to review, to edit, modify, and adjust to any problems we may encounter. Okay? preview, perform. This refers to the creativity, setting smart goals for your student. For the parents, your willingness to participate, collaborate, and coordinate with the teachers during distance learning. Let us always give our 100% effort this pandemic. Okay, provide. Provide. What do we provide? We provide feedback, surveys from parents about the teacher's performance, provide motivation for students and parents, provide an open communication for comments and suggestions. Praise. This is a good strategy to reinforce positive behavior. This needs to be emphasized and given as often as possible if a student deserves it. It can be motivational factor to inform that they are doing well. Things to consider in distance learning. Health and safety of parents and teachers. Ensure compliance of IATF and DOH protocol. Setting schedule and routine at home and school. Smooth and consistent programming starts with establishing and setting a schedule for the student at home. Program, curriculum, and school matching. What does it mean? Okay, this means prioritization of goals for every student that will require him or her to achieve the set mastery before moving to a more difficult and complex skills and activities. Does the program match the developmental skills and level? Like for what are the programs for early childhood? What are the programs for elementary, middle school, transition, and pre-vocational? Utilize the most important online applications. Do you agree that less is more this pandemic? Students with special needs are taught by quality instead of quantity. Use and master 1 to 2 applications instead of many, pero wala namang natatapos at wala namang na-achieve, di ba? Social interaction. Always find a way to see your students, whether in a video call, recorded videos, or even hear their voices, text or call. Social interaction can be done just by hearing each other's voice, kumustahan, online kumustahan. Learning management system. How do you organize your center, your school, to accommodate students in distance learning? Are the modalities favorable and suitable to the family's resources? Okay. Assessment and evaluation. We can do assessment and evaluation online through video observations, sending in return questionnaires. If not, we can have portfolio, performance-based, project-based, recorded videos of the task, whether teacher or parent assigned activity, life skills-based outputs. Communication. Communication promotes parental involvement. It creates an atmosphere where meaningful engagement to finish assigned schoolwork, and at the same time, parent provides updates, improvement, and progress of the student. Collaboration. This strengthens the relationship among parents, teachers, and students because they are coordinated and synchronized with one goal. When you collaborate, you discuss, you meet online, you create plans and strategies to counter the unfavorable effects of pandemic to education of your student, your child. And last, pray and survive. So we pray to survive. We pray and survive. We are hoping to see each other after this pandemic, to continue face-to-face seminars and conferences. So once again, thank you very much for having me to sharing these strategies. especially for the parents and teachers of students with special educational needs. This ends my topic for this morning. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.
That was a handful of information about distance learning, Dr. Ragindin. I think parent teacher collaboration and communication are the major keys to make distance learning work and successful. Just a gentle reminder, dear participants, if you have questions about the topic delivered by Teacher Mon, we will address them later during the open forum. At this juncture, we are prepared to listen to the second topic, behavior implications of lockdown, which will be presented by Ms. Aubrey Elefano. Teacher Aubrey is a licensed professional teacher handling children, adolescents, and young adults with varying special educational needs for 14 years. She graduated a bachelor's degree in psychology at the De La Salle University Das Marinas and took her master's degree in education, major in special education at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She is a member of the Autism Society of the Philippines, Imus Cavite Chapter, Reading Association of the Philippines, and Council for Exceptional Children in Arlington, Virginia. She was a research presenter at the International Conference on Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics in 2019 and received advanced training in the Early Start Denver model, an intervention for young children with autism. She is the founder and director of Live Ed Institute of Learning, a learning and therapy center in Imus Cavite. She is also the current admin head of Child Neurodevelopment and Adolescent Center in South Imus Specialist Hospital. Her advocacies are inclusive education, homeschooling, and anti-bullying policies and programs. She is one of the administrators of SPED Pilipinas, a Facebook group that advocates effective special education in the Philippines. It allows practitioners, parents, teachers, and students to actively engage in rich conversation and build knowledge to better improve the life of special learners. Participants, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Teacher Aubrey. Let us now watch the video
Good
presentation
morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank FEU Institute of Education, especially to Sir Joseph Hintalan for inviting me to be one of the speakers of this webinar. As mentioned earlier, we are celebrating the National Teachers Month, and I believe that this is a good way to kickstart the school year. Okay? Um, I think I was only given 15 to 20 minutes to discuss my topic, but I do hope that everyone will be able to get important insights from what I am going to share today. Okay? So allow me to share my slide. slide. Okay, so my topic is entitled Behavior Implications of Lockdown. Okay, for this morning, there are two key questions that we'd like to answer. So, what are the common experiences of children with special needs during lockdown, and how these experiences affect their behavior? Okay. Um, One of the challenges of special education practitioners and parents as well is dealing with problem behaviors of children with special needs. Okay? Nowadays, there are researches showing that problem behaviors of children with special needs have increased during lockdown. No? And it is important for us to identify the factors that influence these behaviors so that we will be able to better understand why these behaviors occur. Okay? And from there, no, we will be able to come up with more appropriate measures on how we could deal with this concern. Okay. Juneja and Gupta of Indian Pediatrics presented their article in 2020 about the common experiences of special needs community during lockdown. Okay, and these experiences are considered as factors that influence in the increase of problem behaviors of children with special needs. Okay? So the first factor is the inaccessibility of remedial or therapy services. So because of lockdown, no, maraming mga therapy centers and learning centers no had ceased operations. Okay? So na temporarily no nahinto yung kanilang operations, and marami din yung totally na nagsara, no? And this had worsened, no, the condition of children with special needs. Okay? Aside from that, it also caused anxiety and stress to parents and caregivers. Okay? Because biglang nawala, no, yung kanilang support system, no? So yung dating may collaboration sila with the therapists, with the sped teachers and doctors, no? So biglang nawala yon, no? And these parents, no, they felt that they had to deal it on their own. Okay? So another factor is that because of lockdown, no, they also experience sudden changes in daily schedule. Okay, so we know, no, that children with autism and intellectual disabilities have difficulty adapting to changes. Okay, so they have issues no with rigidity and inflexibility, which are the hallmarks no of their characteristics. Okay? As a result, no, they were more likely to exhibit uh, pre-existing problem behaviors. Okay? So may mga parents no sinasabi nga nila na yung mga uh, problem behaviors ng kanilang mga anak no na kumbaga na-roll out na during therapy 'no, ay bumabalik 'no, especially nung nagsimula nga yung lockdown, okay. Next is that, formal learning, becomes, remote, okay. So, actually 'no, naging malaking hamon 'no, hindi lang sa special needs community, but in general 'no, as a whole 'no, yung shift ng education system natin to distance learning, particularly sa online modality. No? So there are studies indicating no, that online education is not actually appropriate to younger students, especially those who are dependent learners. Okay? Why? Because online education requires important skills such as sustained attention, focus, and multitasking, no, which are difficult no, to children with special needs. Okay? So there were reports that children with ADHD and learning disabilities no, are having difficulty participating with online school sessions due to inattention and poor comprehension. Okay? And lastly, is the financial constraints. Okay, so because we are facing global crisis, no, a lot of families now, no, are being affected economically. Okay, so hindi po maiiwasan, no, na nako-compromise, no, yung intervention, no, na dapat natatanggap ng mga batang may special needs um, because of financial problem. Okay? Marami po na sa atin, no, sa mga special needs community natin, no, na nagbawas, no, ng kanilang mga therapy sessions, no, and yung iba, no, totally talagang nag-stop po sila. Okay? So, kahit nga po ngayon, no, na unti-unti, no, nagkakaroon na tayo ng mga face-to-face therapy sessions, no, marami pa din sa kanila, no, yung hindi makabalik pa, no, sa kanilang mga therapies dahil nga sa problema, no, sa kanilang finances, no, hindi lang sa fear, no, na mahawa ng virus, no, but most especially talaga is the problem with their finances. Okay? So, because of that, no, nagkakaroon po ng regression sa skills ng mga batang ito, and um kasi hindi rin sila fully, no, natututukan ng kanilang mga magulang sa bahay, no, and yung mga guardians, because they also have to work, no, in order to survive. Okay? And one important factor also is the one that UNICEF and Norfield Foundation found in their survey. Okay? So, sabi doon that there are heightened cases of physical and sexual abuse of children with special needs. Okay? So, we have to understand, no, that all these factors have significant effects, no, on children's behavior. Okay? So, according to researches which were conducted during the pandemic, children with special needs exhibit increased problem behaviors that are associated to symptoms of anxiety disorders. Okay? So, itong mga problem behaviors na lumalabas, no, sa mga children with special needs are actually caused by anxiety. Okay? So this is a summary table of problem behaviors that parents and caregivers observed in children with special needs during lockdown. Okay, so there was an exacerbation, no, in behaviors related to hyperactivity and fear. Okay, and intense autistic symptoms. Okay, so there was one research, no, I read, wherein parents observed that their children with autism were engaging to repetitive and stereotypic behaviors more frequently during lockdown. Okay, so what are those repetitive behaviors? So yun yung mga self-scratching, rocking, hand flapping, um, inappropriate vocalizations. Okay, so itong mga behaviors na ito, according to functional behavior theory, um, a sensory-based function. Okay? So meaning children engage to such behavior because may soothing value ito sa kanila. Okay? So they find pleasure in doing it. Okay? And usually it occurs kapag wala silang ginagawa, no? Idle sila or anxious sila. Okay? So kaya sinasabi po ng mga behavior experts, no, na hindi magiging effective yung kung ililimit, no, or i-extinguish natin yung ganong behavior sa kanila using negative reinforcement, dahil yun yung paraan nila, no, to reduce and counteract the anxiety and fears na nararamdaman nila. Okay? So it is much better po, no, uh, to to offer them peaceful and joyful environment. Okay, so for teachers and parents, no, we can modify, no, their environment in such a way, no, na that we could lessen, no, the stress, no, and yung mga things, no, that trigger their anxiety. Okay, parents and caregivers also reported about sleep problems. So, and ayan po, no? So, they have difficulty falling asleep. They have nocturnal awakenings, yan, difficulty in waking up, no? And they also experience fleeting mood. Okay, so they get easily angry, no? And irritability. Okay, so they are having frequent tantrums, no, and they get easily frustrated. Okay, so it is important for us parents and teachers, no, to understand that these problem behaviors are children's response to what they are experiencing. Okay, so according to functional behavior theory, no, behavior is explained as a response to missing skills. Okay, so ano ba itong mga missing skills? No? So these are language and speech skills, social communication skills, self-regulation skills, no, and social skills. Okay, so may mga bata po no na especially no those who have low levels of comprehension and minimally verbal children, no, they have difficulty expressing their thoughts and feelings. Okay, so that's why no nagpapakita po sila ng mga inappropriate behaviors, dahil ito kasi yung way no na alam nila to express themselves. Okay, so sometimes po, no, kasi tayong mga parents and teachers, no, we tend to automatically react, no, on the behavior without much consideration on the consequences of that behavior. Okay, so
Yeah, so while we're waiting for uh, our expert to fix some technical glitches, uh, I believe Ma'am Audrey is sharing to us an insightful talk about the experiences of special needs community during lockdown. And what are your experiences? I think we can relate to what Miss Audrey or Ma'am Audrey was saying a while ago, that this pandemic really affected so much of our life as individuals, most especially to our children and the children with special needs. If you have questions about or reactions about the presentations made by Teacher Mon and Teacher Aubrey, you can type in your questions on our chat box, or you can post your comments on the FEUIE Facebook page. Yes, and I think there are comments here from the chat box Zoom platform. Yeah, saying thank you to Sir Mon. And we can see that the audience are from everywhere around the Philippines, around the country. So we have audience from Negros Occidental, Zamboanga, where else? Oh, someone is watching from North Korea. I don't know if it's, and we have from TESTA Provincial Training Center. Yes, and we also have from the SDO of Cotabato. Oh, we really have diverse audience here. Yes. Yes, someone is watching from Cagayan Valley. Okay, so we can resume now watching the video of Miss Aubrey.
Experiencing. Okay? So, according to functional behavior theory, no, behavior is explained as a response to missing skills. Okay, so ano ba itong mga missing skills? No? So these are language and speech skills, social communication skills, self-regulation skills, no, and social skills. Okay, so may mga bata po no na especially no those who have low levels of comprehension and minimally verbal children no they have difficulty expressing their thoughts and feelings. Okay, so that's why no nagpapakita po sila ng mga inappropriate behaviors dahil ito kasi yung way no na alam nila to express themselves. Okay, so sometimes po, no, kasi tayong mga parents and teachers, no, we tend to automatically react, no, on the behavior without much consideration on the function or purpose, no, of the behavior. Okay? So as a result, no, we become frustrated and stressed, no? So yung maraming sa atin ngayon, no, nasa stress, na frustrate, no? Kasi hindi nila fully nauunawaan, no, kung bakit, no, nagbe-behave ng ganoon yung kanilang mga anak or yung kanilang mga estudyante. Okay? In fact, there are studies affirm no that these problem behaviors are also correlated to parenting exhaustion no and increased anxiety levels in caregivers of children with special needs. Okay, so that is why it is vital that when we deal with challenging behaviors, no, we must understand that these behaviors are functional, no? Ibig sabihin, may nagme-maintain, no, dun sa behavior na iyon. Okay? So that's why we must understand, no, what maintains these behaviors. So, no, so we can better manage it. Okay? And lastly po, no, if you feel, no, that this is beyond your capability, no, do not hesitate to seek support. Okay? So, from other paraprofessionals who are experts in managing behaviors. Okay? Um, because we can only do so much. Okay? Parents and teachers, no, we can only do so much, no, and we also need to care, no, for our mental health. Okay? Kailangan din natin pong paangalagaan, no, ang ating sariling mental health. Okay? So, this is the time, no, that we have to reinforce, no, the support system, no, our support system, no, para mas matugunan po natin yung mga pangangailangan no ng mga batang ito. Okay? So I would also like to encourage, no, yung mga parents and teachers natin dyan, no, to join, no, our SPED Pilipinas Facebook group, no. So we have a Facebook group, no, called SPED Pilipinas, no. So in this way, no, matutulungan po namin kayo, no, to address yung mga common concerns ninyo, no, sa inyong mga anak na may special needs or sa inyong mga estudyante, no, na may special needs. Okay? So, with that, no, thank you. And here are my references.
Thank you, Ma'am Aubrey, for that insightful talk. And I also believe that strong support from the parents and teachers will help the will help the children with special needs. Okay, so now let's have a gentle reminder once again. If you have questions about Teacher Aubrey's talk, we will address them later during the open forum. This time, we are all set to listen to the last topic of today's event on parent involvement in special education, which will be given by Dr. Rosario Margarita A. Aligada. Dr. Rosario Margarita A. Aligada was Dean of the College of Education of Miriam College from April 2012 to May 2018. At the same time, she was also chairperson of its Department of Special Education. During her term, she led the team that earned Miriam College the designation as a Center of Excellence in Teacher Education. Her professional practice and leadership in education includes, among others, membership in the Commission on Higher Education's Technical Panel on Teacher Education's Committee on Special Education, charting the higher education programs of MC's College of Education as its dean and concurrent chairperson of its Department of Special Education, setting the foundation for a support group for families and persons with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as a main proponent and co-founder of the ADHD Society of the Philippines, managing 2 schools for children with special needs and a support center for children and families. Dr. Aligada holds a doctorate degree in reading education from the University of the Philippines, a master's degree in special education, as well as a Bachelor of Science degree in community nutrition from the same university. She is an internationally accredited master solution-focused brief therapy practitioner and a family ministries worker. Participants, ladies and gentlemen, let us now welcome Dr. Rosario Margarita A. Aligada. Anytime you're ready, ma'am.
Good morning. I feel honored to have been invited to talk about a topic that's very close to my heart, and that is parent involvement. It is because I've worked very closely with parents during my almost 30 years of special education practice. And I also have dealt extensively with parents as an advocate for the differently abled. Let me share my screen with you. You see it? Do you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So the title of the segment assigned to me is Parent Involvement in Special Education. The pandemic has posed so many challenges to families and those with differently abled members who are also referred to as SWANs, or students with additional needs, have not been spared from these. As with many, they too have had to resort to teleconsults with their child's developmental pediatrician, the use of home-based programs in lieu of face-to-face therapies and schooling, and on doing online classes as well. Now more than ever, teachers and parents have to work more closely with each other in order to meet their goals for the child. And so the need for parent involvement has never been more pronounced. Through the years, researchers found that with parent involvement comes the following benefits. First, there's better performance in school. Skills are also developed. Skills that are developed are also more targeted. Parents' points of view are considered, and there are more consistent follow-ups at home. There's also more consistent class attendance for the students, whether it's on online learning or doing modules at home or doing face-to-face classes, because parents are more focused and intentional in their ways. There is also a greater likelihood of swans enrolling in trade schools, colleges, and universities, which lead to higher graduation rates. Also, achievement gaps are bridged with greater participation from parents. In general, there is better support for swans, leading to greater self-esteem for them and more successes in their adult lives. Conversely, a lack of parent involvement have the following effects on the child's education. Lower school performance as manifested in the students' test scores and grades. These are indicative of the limited achievement of skills taught. Often, homework isn't completely done, if at all. This further results to broken routines and achievement gaps, which then lead to lower self-esteem and motivation to go to school. These inconsistencies lead to lower school attendance and eventually to dropping out of school. For many, this diminished value of education mark the beginnings of undesirable attitudes and behaviors, which could lead to more difficulties as swans grow older and more mature. Other areas of development, such as social and communication skills, are impacted as well. So, if a lack of parent involvement could have these consequences on the child's development and the family's well-being, why then are some parents not more involved in their child's education? Well, sometimes parents just don't know or are unaware of the roles that they have to play as parents of an exceptional child. Many of them continue to feel confused, inadequate, helpless, angry, and frustrated. But we must assume that parents always want to help their child, but sometimes don't know how. For others, their inability to help may come from a lack of human or material resources, or even both. What does this mean? The absence of someone to help address all the daily needs to survive can be debilitating. Having extra hands to help assist the child while doing online classes as nanay or tatay work from home can mean the difference between having the child attend online classes or not. Language, which can also be a barrier to parent involvement, is closely associated with cultural beliefs and practices. To this day, for example, there are still those who believe that the eldest male child holds a position of pride and power. Therefore, for this child to have special needs is an embarrassment for the family. As such, they keep the child away from the prying eyes of the public. Tinatago sa bahay, imbis na dalhin sa school or ipahalubilo sa iba para makapag-socialize, itinatago pa rin sila. Sometimes too, there is an undercurrent in the relationship of parent and teacher, which may have been caused by a lack of communication between them. This can cause even greater communication gap. A mismatch in the way either party does things can also be a barrier to parent involvement. So, how then can parent involvement in special education be increased? Okay, as teachers, we may try the following. First, let's try to meet with the parents to define what parent involvement is. Do this together, come up with a joint definition of parent involvement. Okay, you can, this is because your idea may be different from theirs as parents. They might think of parent involvement only as bringing their child to school every day and attending parent-teacher conferences, while you think of it as them being completely hands-on, which means that they will be following things up at home when the child gets home, or when now during the pandemic, when doing modular or online sessions, they will constantly be there beside their child to be able to help you. You might also be expecting them to do volunteer work during school activities. And so to discuss expectations and set standards will help to level the playing field for both of you. So make parents aware of helpful choices for parent development, such as modeling effective learning behaviors, giving the child desirable choices, finding time to sit and learn with the child, and helping the child to set goals and reach these, even if they are as simple as shooting the ball into a hoop while playing. You can further increase parent involvement by being inclusive. What does this mean? It means lahat kasali. Okay, so the markers for inclusivity are presence, participation, and achievement. Everyone is present, everyone participates, everyone achieves. If parent involvement means having yaya assist the child during online classes because nanay or tatay also have to work online at home, then be it. With the assistance of the parents, train yaya, you train yaya along with the parents so that she can be there to assist the child during online classes, so that she can be a good on-site partner to you, and so that she can feel good about being able to help. This gives her a sense of achievement too, along with nanay and tatay. Keeping communication lines open includes allowing parents to communicate with you through different forms within boundaries. Okay, so set those boundaries because they're very important as well. This may take the form of emails, a communication notebook, social messaging, etc., depending on what you as teacher will allow. So, what can parents do? How can parents be involved? Well, you can you can tell parents during that initial meeting with the parents to define parent involvement that they can assist with homework and study. Take note, it's assist. They will not do homework. They will not be doing the studying for the child. Okay, so whether, and this has to happen whether they're doing home-based, modular, or online programs. They can be the teacher's on-site partner during online classes, which means that they provide assistance to the teachers by helping the child manage his attention, his tasks, or his things. So kung pahiga-higa na yung bata sa kama niya kasi nandoon ang computer at doon nag-online classes, then parents will have to be able to provide that assistance to shepherd the child back to your class. It may be as simple as bringing the child to school or the therapy center, not just for others to see, but for the child to look forward to mommy or dad bringing him or her to school. Practice and reinforce academic and social skills at home. Ito po yung sinasabi ng teachers at therapists na sana po i-follow up sa bahay, yung ginagawa sa school. Okay, so volunteer services, and these can include assisting in the classroom, whether it's the virtual classroom or face-to-face classes. They can volunteer also to host maybe online play groups or have conversations with kids. They can also communicate with the school to share information, to share data, to share some experiences, or even to share just what's happening to them at home during the pandemic. It's also important for parents to read with the child. And this, I hope you very sensitively tell parents to tell for them to talk excitedly about school, because their child will take their cues from them. And so if they show that they're tamad to help the child during online sessions or to do homework, the child also will pick up that kind of behavior. So talk kindly also about teacher and other school staff, especially when child is listening, because this demonstrates respect, upholding teacher's authority over the child, and kindness. So sometimes you may not agree with a teacher or you may not like her at all, but please be very cautious about giving out comments about the way you feel about teacher, because again, your child will be getting their cue from you. Okay, so do this very, very sensitively. Okay, parents also can attend school meetings, build the child's skills at home through chores. This is very, very important. You can actually start this even as early as 2 years old. When the child plays, have the child pack away their playthings and other things at home. Of course, you will have to assist them initially, but as the routine is built and the habits are formed, then the children will be able to do these things more efficiently and more confidently. And then also be a role model. In terms of behavior, attitude, and language. Be very encouraging and live healthfully. Provide children with nutritious food, ensure plenty of good sleep and exercise, help your child to manage stress. Lastly, keep your optimism. You know you can be as creative with all of these as you can, but keep in mind that you're doing all of these for your child. That is it for me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rose. That was a very interesting topic. I agree that defining parent involvement with both parents and teachers is a good way to strengthen parent involvement. Parents and people at home should know their role in the learning of their children. So after the insightful talks of our 3 guest speakers, I guess there are some questions raised by our audience participants. We will entertain these questions after this short break.
My name is Samantha Pabellion and I'm a graduate of FEU Institute of Education under the BSED English program. Currently, I'm teaching general education courses like Understanding the Self and Applied Ethics in the same university. Because the nature of teaching and learning is student-centered, it means students have a lot of freedom to discuss common issues in the classroom, share their interests, or any ideas related to the discussion. Aside from the content of the topic, I focus on the intelligibility and clarity. With this, I hope students will feel that they are given autonomy and agency inside the classroom. I believe that IE helped me fulfill these tasks in the sense that we were taught about the different ideas and theories like differentiated instructions, flipped learning, and of course Stephen Krashen's hypothesis, and these are just some of the theories taught to us that I make sure to incorporate into my teaching practices.
So welcome back, participants. We will now proceed to the open forum to accommodate your questions about the topics presented. I guess one of the audience here, Sir Romel Solomon, is asking if will we be provided a copy of presentations? Maybe we can ask from the speakers or someone who can answer if they're going to be provided with a copy of the presentations.
On my end, yes. Yes, I'll provide a copy.
Okay, thank you po.
Hi, good morning, Teacher Aubrey. Yes, I can also provide a copy to the
Thank you, Teacher
participants.
Aubrey. And Teacher Mon.
Yes, po.
Yes, Teacher Mon.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess that's the question I found from the chat box. If there'll be no question, there are no more questions from the chat box, so I will be raising a question, if that would be all right to you, teachers. So we have been discussing about parent involvement, your parents' role, and in the learning during this pandemic. So how do you think can schools tap parents to be more involved with the learning of their children, especially those SWANs or those children with special needs? This may be answered by any of you.
Diane, sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
So how can schools tap parents to be more involved with the learning of their children? Are there programs or interventions that you may recommend?
Oh, those that I mentioned help a lot. Okay, that's how you can involve parents. But it helps, for instance, if they're online. If it's an online class, it would help to have certain days of the week devoted to activities where the child is with other children. Okay, so they can have, for instance, sessions where the children can play games together and socialize together and get to know each other better, even online. Those who do home-based programs can also be involved in what we call this, in sessions where they can join other students who are doing home-based programs as well. But it will have to be an online thing. That's the setback when doing modules at home, and when the families have no access to computers. Yun lang, that's a difficulty. But what you can do would be to have sessions with parents, and you can do this through various means. Like, for instance, you can call them through their cell phones, or perhaps you can send them some clips, some notes, some tips about how they can help their children as they do their home-based topics or home-based lessons at home. So you can encourage parents to play with their children, or have the parents bring all the other children at home together. Ang masaklap kung walang ibang bata, kasi then it will have to be the children interacting with adults. So those are some suggestions, so
Thank
that
you.
parents can be more involved. You know, it's I'd like to say that sometimes it's very easy for us teachers to read parents in action or inactivity as them being walang pakialam. Under the pandemic, we all are under so much stress, especially parents. Okay, sa atin, ang stress natin, kasi if we're doing home-based programs or online programs, we have to prepare very well for the sessions every day. But for parents, it's not just assisting their child as they do the online classes or as they do homework at home or the modular classes at home. They also still have to attend to their other needs, like if they're employed, they have to continue working. In many ways, that's the setback of doing work from home, because parents are expected to work from home. They too are accountable to their bosses. And so they have to make sure that they are there in front of their computers doing work, and at the same time their children will have to be in school. So parents really need support. And we have had children in our school whose parents had to drop them from class kasi hindi nila kayang pagsabayan. Or one of the parents have had to take a leave. Parang ano sila, inubos na nila lahat ng leaves nila, ng vacation leave, sick leave, nagsasalit-salitan so that somebody can be with the child. Some parents, this is still parent involvement. Okay, they've tried to take in maybe tutors who are willing to come to their house and help the children with either their digital online classes or their modular classes. So yun. So that you cannot disregard that as parents not being involved. Pag sinabi mo kasing parent involvement, ibig sabihin nun, ginagawa lahat ng parents na kaya nila na magawa para matulungan ang bata at ang mga sarili nila. So that everyone, it becomes a win-win situation for all. So keep in mind, huwag judgmental, lalo na sa mga panahong ito. Okay?
Yes, thank you,
Kasi pag
Dr.
judgmental ka towards parents, that becomes an even greater block, because parents will feel that there's going to be tension between you and them. So be kind.
Thank you, Dr. Rose, for that insightful answer.
I may add.
Yes, po, Doc.
Actually, I strongly agree with Doc Aligay no, kasi me on my part naman po, since I'm a teacher and also a parent so I'll be speaking on behalf of parents I think yung one of the ways that we could support the parents para mas maging involved sila is also to consider parent coaching. Okay, so importante sa mga, lalo na po sa mga SPED teachers yung parent coaching kasi sila they are willing naman po to teach their children to manage their children but because of a lot of things that they have to deal with sa house nila so I think medyo confused sila, so it is important po na we could provide them with specific instructions on how they could facilitate yung learning ng mga anak po nila sa bahay. And pwede rin nating i-emphasize din dun yung time management kasi yun yung kailangan actually ng mga parents like me so after this I have to attend to my child's parent orientation online, so yung mga ganun, so and then they have work pa, so pwede din po natin turuan yung mga magulang how to manage their time well and also turuan din natin sila how to contextualize yung learning especially dun sa mga lessons nila sa mga modules ituruan natin sila how they could apply those lessons dun sa everyday na ginagawa nila sa bahay, yung mga activities nila sa bahay so for example sa mga math teachers, no, you're teaching math about kunwari measurement, no, so pwede nyo i-guide yung parent, mommy, you could apply this skill, no, sa kunwari sa pagluluto ninyo, no, i-involve nyo yung mga anak ninyo. So yung mga everyday, let's say, chores or yung mga daily activities, no, that they could apply those concepts, no, para mas, kumbaga, may practical application sila dun sa mga skills na tinuturo po ng mga teachers.
Thank you, Ma'am Aubrey. Thank you. Let me acknowledge the presence of Ma'am Tony or Ma'am Ton from FEU Diliman, Directress of FEU Diliman. So there are a lot of questions coming in the Zoom platform, and I think someone is raising her hand.
Yes,
Miss Antoinette.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm so glad I was able to participate and attend this very, very important webinar for teachers. Yes, I'm from FEU Diliman, and I did pose a question there because, as we know, during the last year po, in our school, and I think in many schools, we did not anymore give entrance exams for new students. And in the enrollment process po, so if there is no more way for us to screen, in a way, screen students entering, there may be some students with special needs who would like to enroll with a school that does not necessarily have a special needs program in place. So in our case po, though we have teachers who are SPED majors, not necessarily teaching SPED students, there may be students in our school who enrolled without us knowing that they do have these special needs. My question is that okay? Should schools like us be on the lookout? Should parents inform us, or how does it go? It's kind of difficult.
Yes, anyone can answer.
May I? Okay.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I'd like to highlight that the DepEd curriculum, the revised DepEd curriculum, is now founded on inclusive education, which means that everyone, all schools, should accept children with special needs. Okay, and then DepEd also now has a program where when a child reaches first grade, and teachers have noticed that there are red flags in terms of the child's development, they can give children an assessment. Okay, that the DepEd has come up with an assessment tool which teachers who have been trained to use that can use, so that the students with special needs in their classes are identified early on. Okay, so the special needs includes the both extremes of the what we call this, the spectrum. So pwedeng yung gifted, ma-identify nila, but those who are not doing so well can also be identified. Okay, so private schools and public schools are now expected to take in those students with special needs. Of course, the assumption here is that the administration, the school, has prepared also their teachers to be inclusive. So I mentioned the markers earlier. Everyone, which means it's not just the child with special needs, but also those typically developing children in the classroom will have to be present. They will have to be able to participate. They will have to be able to achieve. So yung tatlong yon, very important markers yon in terms of inclusive ed. So when we say inclusive ed, that means that the children or the child with special needs is together with same age children in a regular classroom. Okay, and they will be doing the same things that classmates will be doing, except that the teacher will have to make some accommodations or modifications if necessary, so that the child with special needs is able to cope with learnings in the classroom. There are some children whose condition has already been diagnosed. The parents will have to disclose this to the school, okay? Because if they don't, and the teachers just give accommodations to them, other parents in the school might start to complain and say, bakit siya may special treatment? Bakit yung anak ko hindi mo naman binibigay yan? Okay, that is because the child has has disclosed that they have special needs. I mean, the parents of the child has disclosed that their child has special needs, and so therefore accommodations and modifications have to be done on the way the child is being taught in the classroom. Okay, so that's very, very important. But in general, whether or not meron kang training sa special ed, because that is now the DepEd order, department order, the private schools will have to take in students with special needs. Ngayon nga, mas madali because it's modular, it's distant learning, and so modules can be prepared for them, and they're the same modules that typically developing students also take. If it's an online program, yun ang medyo mahirap. Those with special needs really will have to have a parent on-site partner to help their child. Kasi kung naka-group siya and you have online classes and there's, say, 34 children in the group, siya yung 35th child, okay, and this child has special needs, then the teacher will not be able to be physically present to help the child focus on the lesson. So this is where you have to work very, very closely with parents so that they can help with the child's attention. They can help the child sit down and pay attention properly during classes.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Now, there is a question here which is addressed to Sir Mon, I think, from Sir Evan Joshua. Hello, may I ask, what are some effective strategies or solutions you can suggest to handle parents who are very hands-on with their child to the point of it starting to interfere with the lesson or class?
Okay, thank you for the question. So it begins with proper information for the parents, proper orientation, so that they will know their roles and responsibility at home. So if I believe that if they are well informed, they can adjust. They will know their responsibility as a parent and as a primary teacher at home. So in our setting kasi, Filipinos, alam naman natin, even before pandemic, Filipino parents are very hands-on, except for those who are working full-time. But in our case kasi, we are dealing with children. We are dealing with students with special educational needs. So it is expected that parents are hands-on. But through proper communication and good collaboration, I think the teacher can address that properly. The teacher can give information, can differentiate, can make distinction about the role and the activities the parent can give at home. So I hope I answer your question.
Yes, thank you, Doc Mon. Now, in the interest of time, we will be accommodating one more question, and this will be the last one. Any suggestions po on how we can apply your discussions po in inclusive education for tertiary level? Your insights will be very much helpful. Thank you. Yes po.
Okay,
And
I would like to add, sige po, yan. I would like to support and I agree with what Dr. Aligada have mentioned earlier. So, to be more inclusive, there are many factors to consider. Like a good program starts with good assessment, okay? Training of teachers in the tertiary level. And I think the one who asked earlier, I think ano yan sa college po ba ma'am? So I think it is assigned. It is assigned for the school to add programs for students with special educational needs in tertiary level to be formal. So meron na kayong SPED majors. You offer already SPED. So I think it is a sign, and also it can help our country to be more inclusive. So inclusive kasi it's a loose term na lagi natin naririnig eh. So for me, it is not just inside the classroom. It is how we accept the students with special educational needs, even in and outside the classroom. Yeah, so I think that's how we apply as a teacher. That's how we can apply this webinar. Okay? Hindi lang 'to nasasabihin na inclusion, dadalhin yung bata sa general education setting, but how we prepare programs, how do we make accommodations and modifications. Okay? And let us remember that teaching should be enjoyable for both teachers and the students. Thank you po.
May I also add?
yes po, Dr. Rose.
Inclusion means removing barriers to learning. Okay, so if we're talking about tertiary education, which means college na, and where most of the colleges and universities have been doing online sessions already with their students, then it is incumbent upon faculty members to make sure that the programs that they prepare, the classes that they prepare for their students, will be able to reach all types of learners. And there are many ways of doing this. One way would be to present the same material in different ways. So pwede kang magbigay ng readings, pwede kang magbigay ng videos, pwede kang magbigay ng podcast, so that students have a choice of choosing. They have a choice of either listening or reading or watching something. And then in terms of them submitting your requirements, you can have them choose between two options. For instance, so pwede mong ipagawa sa kanila na kunyari ang end report mo ay reflection paper. You can have them either write that down or you can have them video themselves. Okay, take a recording of a video and then send that to you, or they can do an audio recording and send you their answer. So those who are not very good at writing but are better at speaking can actually have a better chance of making it. Because there are some students who are dyslexic and have not been diagnosed as being dyslexic, and so they might have difficulty writing things down, but they're better at verbalizing their thoughts. So have them do that as well. So, or you can have students interact as a group. Yung marami ng mga tech possibilities ngayon. So students can do discussions, maybe submissions can be done either as a group or individually. Dati kasi, di ba, pag face-to-face classes, kung group lang. Pero ngayon, you can have them have a choice. They can work with a group, or they can work with a partner, or they can work individually, depending on what is what they are able to do. The point is that we remove barriers to learning so that they continue to attend their sessions, their classes. They continue to participate in their class in whatever way possible. Kasi nga inaalaw mo yung lahat ng options na yon para sa kanila. And they're also able to achieve. With all the difficulties, technology has saved us, okay, from the effects of the pandemic. We're able to continue to do the things that we used to be able to do without the pandemic, but it also sometimes provides barriers to learning. So it helps a lot if we were able to educate ourselves so that then we can provide students with more options. Okay, so pwedeng ang submission through email or through the platform that your school provides. It can be, wag naman snail mail kasi baka tapos na, nag-graduate na yung klase mo, hindi pa dumadating yung requirements na pinadala mo. Okay, so plenty of options and plenty of possibilities. The important thing is for us to be very creative so everyone can continue to be present, to participate, and to achieve. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rose. I guess we can accommodate one more question, one last question for Ma'am Aubrey, and I think Dr. Rose can also answer this. The question is, why did you choose to work with students with disabilities?
Oh, Ms. Aubrey.
Miss Aubrey.
Why did I choose? I just love teaching. Kasi yung undergrad ko kasi is psychology. And one of our practicums kasi sa education setting, where we handled children with special needs. So I think among those settings, it is where in the education sped where I enjoyed the most, and yun.
Thank you, Ma'am Aubrey. So there are still many questions that are left unanswered, but maybe we could include these questions or answer these questions through the webinars or future events that the FEU IE will be spearheading in the future. And now we are in the concluding part of the program. But before we part ways, let us hear some takeaways or final words from our three speakers. Can we hear it from Dr. Rose first?
I said it earlier, be kind. These are difficult times, and all of us are going through so many things. Parents are sometimes becoming experts at juggling things, but sometimes they really are at a dead end. So let's help them, because if we're not able to help them, then we will not be able to reach their children. And our main goal is to be able to help not just the child with special needs, but their families as well. So that's it. Thank you for inviting me to this forum.
Yes, Ma'am Aubrey.
For me, I want to give a good job, to all the teachers, SPED practitioners, Kasi 'di ba tayo parang yun yung lagi lang natin binibigay sa mga estudyante natin, Good job, very good, So this time naman, ako naman yung magbibigay sa inyo ng good job, I-good job natin yung mga sarili natin because this is our second year na nasa new normal in education tayo, and na-surpass natin yung previous year, and ngayon we are dealing now with another school year. So, ano lang, kapit lang, and ano lang tayo, continue to pray. Yan yung, I think, one of yung mga best thing na magagawa natin, no, is to pray. Kasi, lalo na ngayon, no, maraming mga bagay, no, that are out of our control, no, so we need guidance from the Lord. So thank you and have a good day po.
Thank you, Ma'am Aubrey. Teacher Mon?
Okay. Thank you, FEU Institute of Education. Thank you, Doc Aligada and Ma'am Aubrey. Thank you to Sir Joseph and Dr. Kolala and Dr. Zarla. So for me, thank you to all the teachers this morning. So congratulations din kasi andito pa tayo. So always extend your understanding, your patience, especially to all the parents kasi sila yung primary teacher of their children this pandemic. Again, have a nice day po at maraming salamat.
Thank you, Teacher Mon. We would like to express our gratitude to our three notable speakers, Teacher Mon, Teacher Aubrey, and Dr. Aligada. We'd also like to thank our audience, our participants who have been with us this morning. Please don't forget to answer the evaluation form, which is accessible through the link in the chat box. We hope to be with you again in the future Institute events and activities. This is Diane Esquadra wishing you a safe and nice day ahead. Goodbye po.